These are the tools we need for this job. We need a ratchet with a 17mm socket on it to undo the front block. There's 4mm Allen key to undo all the fairing bolts. We need an oil filter removal tool. We need a spanner to use the oil filter removal tool. I also like to, when I'm putting the sump plate back in, I like to do that to the manufacturer's correct cord, and there's a tension match. Up under here is a particularly difficult fastener to get to. It comes off by pushing that in and then removing it with your fingers as such. This particular fastener is a little tricky. Most people think you would have to pull this little pin out to remove it. In actual fact, you push it in. That releases the little tangs so that they move in like that, and you can pull it out of the fairing panel. With that in place, you can't push the little tangs in. So remember, push it in, pull the fastener out. Okay. When it comes out of the bike, it'll look like that. When you're reassembling the fairing, to put it in, you push it all the way through so that the middle part is hanging out. You push it into the fairing and then simply snap shut so it's equal. When removing all the pieces off a motorcycle, I find a handy little thing is to have a container with different compartments. What that allows you to do is group the parts in certain spots so that when you go to put it back together, it's a lot easier. There's another tricky little fastener up the top here. This fastener works completely opposite the one we showed you before, whereas you actually have to use a screwdriver, push in and lever it out. Then grab hold of the fastener and pull it out as such. So it's pushed in, levered up and pulled out of the fairing. It's fairly simple when reinstalling the fastener. It'll be in this position when you pull it out. Put it back in, put it back in the fairing as such, push the tab in, that locks it in place. What I usually do with each particular bike is I remove all the other bolts as shown before. This is the last bolt I remove. The reason I do this is because some bikes, when you undo the last bolt, the fairing just falls off and that can damage it. So I'm applying a little bit of pressure on the fairing to hold it in still. I remove that bolt. Now this is the tricky part. The fairing will come off. There's actually a little lug in here which you have to lift up like that. There's one last little attachment. It's not actually a bolt. It's a small lug that goes into a grommet inside the frame there. That has to be lifted up. The fairing then comes to this point here. You've got to be quite careful up the front here. When you've got it to this point, you've got to be very careful you don't scratch the nose or the fairing itself. It's a little tricky. Tend to hold the fairing at the back, remove it, and just watch that you don't hit the others there. And that's it, fairing removed.